Rugby Round 2 preview. Hi, I'm Paul, the guy behind DrivingMaul, your best place rugby predictions and opinion. And that ding ding was not really what I wanted up there. Sachis Prasad, hello. Good to have you on the live stream. And let's get straight onto it then. So this weekend we've not had the squads for all the teams, but we'll run through the ones that we do know. Kicking us off on Friday night, we have the Highlanders hosting the Reds. So for the Highlanders, we've seen basically what we saw, a general theme across especially the New Zealand teams this weekend, is that we're seeing stronger 15s and not that strong bench, that we saw over the weekend for quite a few of the teams. So if you look at the Highlanders, we've got players like Ben Smith, Naholo, Aaron Smith, all in the starting 15. We've still got some decent players. I mean, still decent players coming off the bench, don't get me wrong, but we're seeing all of the All Blacks kind of really starting now rather than coming off the bench and joining in. So we've got Whitelock and Ben Smith co-captaining as usual. The other name actually that sort of jumps out is we've got Marty Banks on the bench ahead of Bryn Gatland. So there's that folk hero or cult hero is there. So it'll be fun to see him if he comes on to the pitch. Just quickly then, so Ben Smith, Naholo, Rob Thompson, Tarangi Walden, Tavita Lee, Josh Ioane, Aaron Smith is your back line. Luke Whitelock, Dylan Hunt, Shadon Frizzell, again another player off the bench and into the starting 15. Josh Dixon, Jackson Hemapo, Tyrrell Lomax, Liam Coltman, and Andre Johnston are your starting 15. So strong starting 15 there for the Highlanders. Come up against the Reds, and there's a lot of talk on Twitter, at least, of the different, of basically some young guns coming into this. Would this be a kind of inexperienced side? Yeah, but hang on. The Reds backline does boast 262 games of Super Rugby experience, apparently, and it includes Bryce Hegarty at 15 for his debut, and Stefan Naivalu at 11, also his debut for the Reds. So a lot of weight there on Samu Karevi at 12 and Hamish Stewart. In particular, his kicking is going to have to be spot on, because when you've got a back three of Bryce Hegarty, Fuana Suati and Naivalu, and sorry about the mispronunciation there, there's going to be an opportunity here for the Highlanders. And the Highlanders, we know, do put up contestable kicks. So that is an area I expect them to really have a go. The 5 Wallabies are selected in the front pack, and we have Caleb Timu, Liam Wright, Angus Scott Young, Luca Sakalai Lotto, Isaac Rodder, Taniele Tupu, Brandon Payanga Amosa, and Fio Fotaika. Now, Fio Fotaika is a wonderful story. He's lost 16 kilos in pre-season. Was thinking about giving up the game and clearly was not fit to play at this level, but has got himself in good shape to face it. So really looking forward to see him. We've got a couple of debutants potentially off the bench as well. So that's 5 debutants in this side, a pretty young, inexperienced side, even though they talk about those caps in there. There's going to be a lot of emphasis on those 5 Wallabies in the pack, and then also really of Hamish Stewart and Samu Karevi to lead this team around. We then move on, and the next game is on Saturday afternoon, where we see the Sunwolves take on the Waratahs. And Sunwolves have lost Reddy Ranger to an ACL injury for the season, unfortunately. It's sad to see that. Now, look, they're going to be better than last week, because we saw last week with the Sunwolves that one of their big problems was a lack of game time. And also the fact their coach wasn't there, and also them just missing a lot of the Japanese international players. Now, they're still missing the Japanese international players, but hopefully Brown is there to run things from a coaching point of view. And a lot of people are still surprised to see that Little isn't back in the side. Obviously, a lot of this is going to come down to that pack giving platform and then Parker kicking them around the pitch. So, yeah, a lot of that weight on Hayden Parker. but that entire backline with Nakamura, Gates, Van Heven, Mazuroa, and Emery are going to have to be on their mettle, because look, this is a Waratahs backline that is absolutely stacked. And if we go over to the Waratahs, we've seen Carmichael Hunt has moved from 12 to 13 to allow Curtly Beale to come back into the side. Adam Ashley Cooper drops out of the 23. And look, there's been some comments this weekend about across a number of the teams saying, "Oh, why isn't such playing? Oh, how can they drop him?" But look, it's a long old season, and you're going to need to. It's a squad game now. You're going to need to. Not need to, but it's good that you can get to rest players, rotate them, and use your entire squad. Don't expect players to play every single game back to back. So just run through that back line for you. Folau with Newsom and Curtis Rona on the wings. Carmichael Hunt and Beale, your centres, with Foley and Jake Gordon running things. The forwards, Dempsey, Hooper, Hannigan, your Lucy's. Rob Simmons, Jed Holloway, and then Kepu, Fitzpatrick and Johnson Holmes up front. So look, with the number of Wallabies on this side, the Waratahs really should be facing up and looking to win this one. Latu O'Connor, Salakai, Swinton Miller, Short, Mason and Clark on the bench. So yeah, the bench does not have the same ring to it as a starting 15, but that starting 15 should be enough to see them home. Just a reminder, actually, that I'll be doing live post-match reaction to the Highlanders versus the Reds and also to the Crusaders versus the Hurricanes, which is our next game on Saturday. Crusaders team, yeah, I mean, as always, stacked. I mean, Moody, Macaleo, Franks, Barrett, Strange, Tuafua, Todd and Douglas are the pack. So Cody Taylor not back this season, this week, also rested, along with Sam Whitelock and Kieran Reid as well. Brynholm, Mwanga, Crosby and Goodyear comes back from injury, with Bridge, Matalei and Havali in the backs there. So yes, it is a stacked side. Not many changes. Ben Fennell, Harry Allen, and Michael Alatoa on the bench there, because Perry has gone and broken his arm, so he's out. Unfortunately, fractured his arm, so Tim Perry's out. Luke Romano, a guy who's supposed to be on the fringe of the All Black squad and yet can't even get into the starting side of the Crusaders, even with Sam Whitelock rested. Got to wonder what's really going on there. Tom Sanders, Mitch Drummond, Michael Hunt and Braden Ennor. Ennor, it's his first season at this level, but yes, really showed that he has got a good game last weekend and a guy for the future. Definitely there. Come across to the Hurricanes who they're playing, and you gotta say it's not looking, doesn't look as star packed by any stretch of the imagination. In the backs we've got Barrett, Houston, and Lamb, Matt Proctor, Vince Arso. Seeing Vince Arso at 12 is a bit unusual. Normally he's 13 or wider. Also coming in to get to replace Laumape, who's moved on to the bench. Matt Proctor's apparently recovered from an illness. Fletcher Smith, Finney Christie, the 9 and 10. So TJ Perenara drops to the bench. There's no Bowden Barrett still in the side. And then Evans, Carifi, Princip. So again, no Ardy Surveyor in there. Mitchell, Blackwell, Tumanga Allen, Coles and Eves up front. Dane Coles comes back to captain the side in his first run out in a long time. Riccatelli, Mua May, Walker Laurie, Henwood, Perenara, Garden Bashop and Lamape on the bench. But for me, yeah, they're missing missing too many players, really, especially when you think about Ardy Surveyor, TG Perenara not in the starting 15, Bowden Barrett not in the side at all. Yeah, I think this is going to be a long old day for the Hurricanes. Let's be honest. On to the later evening game, we've got the Brumbies versus the Chiefs. The Brumbies we're looking at a pretty similar side to last weekend, except for injuries, and the injuries are key. David Pocock and Tony Pulu both injured during the first half last weekend, and then also Henry Spate injured during the second half So 3 key players missing there for the Brumbies, which means we've got Slipper, Faianga, Alatoa, Arnold, Carter, Valentine, Cusack and McCaffrey. As a pack, Powell and Leofano will be the pivots, Simone, Kurandrani, and then Muirhead, Penny and Bank. So yeah, that's 2 guys that to come into that back 3. Manri, Sio, Lualili, Makeen, Enver, Samu, Lucas, Hawera, and Wright are on the bench there. So missing Pocock, missing 2 attacking weapons in Pulu and Henry Spate. You've got to worry for the Brumbies who came up short against the Rebels last weekend, and I believe that their pack scored all their tries. When you're coming up against a Chiefs pack, that's not a good thing. Brodie Retallick leads the side out there, getting his 100th cap. So Aiden Ross and Nathan Harris, Lualala, Retallick, Allardyce, Brown, Boshier, Tyler Idron are up front, and international experience, big guys. That's going to be a tough pack. Turangi and Damon McKenzie are the pivots. So Brad Weber drops out of the match day 23. We then have Antelope Brown, who had an absolute stunning game last weekend, and Tamua Manu in the centres, and then Nanai Saturo, Moeki Elo, and Sean Stevenson are the back 3. I mean, 3 players in that back line with just 1 Super Rugby cap to their name. So clearly, it's not the most experienced back line, but with that pack and with Daniel McKenzie to lead them around, I think they're in a good place. Twikiaho, Mafiello, Katuai, Siu, Mitchell Karpik comes back, are on the bench. Jonathan Tuamatini, Auburn Ledger, and Balin Sullivan on the bench as well. Now again, I mean, Auburn Ledger is down there with 1 cap, but that's obviously with the Chiefs. He has caps with the Blues before, but a couple of players. There's another 4 players there with single-digit caps on the bench. It's not an experienced bench either. So you're going to want, as I say, as with a lot of these New Zealand sides, it's the first 15 that they're going to need to step up. They haven't got the same kind of, they've got decent benches, but not the same kind of benches we saw last weekend coming off to play those sort of things, to change games. So yeah, Damon McKenzie back, and he'll be needing to play the full 80 minutes, you'd think. And Auburn Ledger played well at 10 last weekend, but the kicking is what they need. Darren McKenzie on there in particular. Looking for then we head over to South Africa, and we don't actually have the Sharks lineup yet, but we're going to remember they had that big win over the Sunwolves last weekend. So the big question this weekend is going to be, was that the standard of opposition, or are we actually going to see the Sharks actually put together something like what they're capable of on the pitch, as we see actually on paper that they're capable of. Up against the Blues this weekend, who obviously pushed the Crusaders close last weekend. Milani Nanai hits 50 caps. Now, he has also announced he's off to Worcester Warriors at the end of the season. But good to see him hit 50 caps. In the fullback position, as we might have discussed on the All Blacks edition, he's perhaps a better winger than he is a fullback, but he's filling in there this weekend with Caleb Clark and Rico Iwani on the wings. Now, Caleb Clark, I'm going to have a chat with his dad, Ronnie Clark, who the ex-All Black, Auckland Blues, Highlanders, and Auckland Rugby stalwart. He is going to be at our event next week, not this weekend, but the weekend after, when we have a watch party on the 3rd of March for the Jaguares versus the Blues. So check out my pinned tweet, or check out my pinned tweet is best place probably, because we're going to have a watch party at Whitematter Rugby Club. So please head down there. Only $25, and that gets you a buffet brunch. That interview with Ronnie Clark, and then myself, Archwin, and Stephen will be down there, giving you pre-match, half-time, and full-match analysis of the game. So come and meet us, and come for a good old watch party. TJ Fiane moves out from 12 to 13 as Sonny Bill Williams comes onto the pitch, and you'll have Terry Black and Jonathan Ruru guiding them around. That means Marnonu has dropped out of the matchday 23. This is one of those players that I said people be like, how can he be dropped? And as I say, look, these guys can't play every single game. Rotation is good. TJ Fiane deserves to get some game time as well. So it's good to see that they're rotating these players around. Kiriwani, Dalton Papali'i and Tom Robinson. And Tom Robinson had a really good game last weekend after his yellow card and he came back. So that's a decent loose trio. Josh Goodhue, Patrick Tuipulotu in the engine room, and then Offa Tuangafasi, James Parsons and Carl Tuini Cafe are the front row. So 2 All Blacks props, and James Parsons has been around the All Blacks setup as well in the past. So you've got to say that's a type 5 that should actually be able to do some work. We have talked about the fact that that Blues pack hasn't given them the platform before, but if we look at it now, with at least with 3 All Blacks, another 2 guys who in and around 4 All Blacks, another 2 guys in and around that squad. You've got to say that that's a team that's a pack that should hold its own. Again, that means we haven't got players like those All Blacks props on that the bench does not have the same power coming off the bench. So Hodgman, Mafiliho, Cowley, Tuoti, Mecic, Augustin Pulu, Plummer, and Tuane Tele'a are on the bench. So I say not the same kind of punch you're going to get off the bench as last week, but that's the same across all those New Zealand sides. For the Stormers versus the Lions, we haven't got the team sheets yet. The Stormers, obviously, they had that big loss to the Bulls, only scoring 3 points, and serious issues off the pitch at the moment, political issues between Western Province and the Stormers. Also, lots of question marks as to whether Fleck is really the up to coaching at this level, and so there's lots and lots of negative news off the pitch around this side. So you can't expect them to be able to concentrate on playing, unfortunately. The Lions come back from Argentina with their first ever win over the Jaguares away. Will be brimming with confidence. Sure, they've lost a couple of players, but they've also bringing players through as well. So, yeah, expect a decent side turn up from the Lions, and probably we're looking at an away win there. Final game of the round sees the Jaguares host the Vodacom Bulls. Now, I will be doing a post-match reaction to this one with Shane from Australia, so do join us for that. We haven't got the Jaguares lineup yet. Obviously, they came a cropper against the Lions last weekend, and the Bulls are arriving here with a lot of confidence. And they've named their side early doors. So we've got Gallant there at the fullback. Now, he's going to have his work cut out for him with Hendricks and Speckman on the wing. Speckman, obviously a sevens player, still learning his positioning. And there's some good analysis how Henry Pollard covered for him in the last game. Hendricks been out the game for a couple of seasons. Is back now, ex-Springbok, but getting on in age. So we'll see if he's still got it. Inside them, Jesse Creel or Dina Dell with Pollard and Papier pulling the strings. Vermeulen, Lindenberg, Steenkamp, the Lucies, Lou Diega, Jason Jenkins in the engine room, and then Naya Kane, Brits, and Goho Boka, I think, in that front row. Looking to the bench, Els, Matanzima, and Van der Vesterzen, Stuyman and Bowley, and then finally Van Zyl, Libok, and Sage are the backs on the bench. Again, looking at that forward pack wanting to do the business against. Hi Jazzy, good to see you on the live chat there. Still looking at that at the first 15, really wanting to win this one. Some exciting backs there if the forwards can give them the kind of platform they want. Jesse Creel takes some flack, but he's exciting. Henry Pollard really could pull the strings, I say, of that pretty exciting back line. Obviously, the Jaguares, we always know they have an exciting back line. And if you think that last weekend, all 3 tries by the Lions were scored by Schumann, their number 6 or their loose forward open side flanker. All the 3. That's where all the Lions scored all their 3 tries. So you're going to have to. It's again a good opportunity here for that front pack to put some work in over Hagiwara's pack. That let's be honest, isn't the scrummaging powerhouse that Argentinian sides used to be like 3-4 years ago. So Hagiwara's obviously they'll throw the ball around, and so it's whether players like Hendricks and Speckman can keep their positioning, because that's where you think the Hagiwaras have an opportunity to perhaps try and pull this Bulls side out of shape. So there you go. That's my roundup of all the games. Don't forget to head to Patreon, Patreon, patreon.com/DrivingMaul, so that you can to help support the site. Lots of exclusive content there, and even the opportunity to get one of these DrivingMaul bucket hats. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Up there, the link to Patreon should be down there. And over here are 2 videos that the artificial intelligence at YouTube thinks you'll adore. So go and click on those. I say I'm back straight after the Crusaders. After the Highlanders versus the Reds, Crusaders versus the Hurricanes, and Hagiwaras versus the Bulls this weekend. So do join me for those post-match reactions. Also, I'll be coming on live after the Wales versus England game. And also the Seattle Seawolves versus Rugby United in New York, or Rooney Major League Rugby game. So lots of post-match reactions to bring you this weekend.